Hi everyone, today we'll be presenting the next module in the course, which is going to be an introduction to HTML, CSS and JavaScript. When I say introduction, I really mean this. So since our academy is concentrated on game development, we are not going to go into any details because we don't want to write websites and make websites. We are only concerned with games. So this is going to be a very basic set of lectures where we will only learn what HTML, CSS and JavaScript are, and without getting into any details, so that we can continue on to the next course, which is going to be about Phaser and how to make HTML5 games. And actually, to make the HTML5 games, you really don't have to know that much HTML or CSS, but we're just going to mention them so that if someone tells you you have to put this in index HTML and so on, so that you know what's going on and where to put your JavaScript files and so on. So this is going to be very basic, very quick, and unlike the previous courses, we will skip most of the details here. Also, it will be just a couple of lectures, but we'll see that in a second. So this is me again. No one new is gonna be doing the lectures for this course specifically, but yeah. So we did play some. What did we play? We played bowling. We played poker once. But if you want to, we can go on to pool or what did we say? Table tennis. Yeah, it's fine. I'm happy to play these on Saturdays and Sundays. So yeah. All right. This has to be changed. Just 1 second. This has to be HTML or introduction to HTML, CSS, and why is this underlined? I have no idea. And italics as well. How did that happen? I just pressed enter. So and JavaScript. All right. So yeah. So this is the first lecture, number 0, where I'll explain briefly what is required of you, and we just look through the lectures and so on. Okay, so we start with an introduction to HTML. This is going to be a very short lecture, giving you the very basics and outlines of HTML. HTML is pretty much a language. It's not even, I wouldn't consider it a language, but it's a way of creating, I would say, something like Word documents, but for websites. This is the best way that I can explain it. So it's kind of a harder way to make your own document with some text and some pictures and so on, which you would normally do easily with Word. You have to do it a bit more complicated using HTML, so that it can be put on the browser and so on. CSS is a way of styling your HTML or your document. So here are some rules where you can give colors to text, borders to some tables and stuff like that. We'll see those in one of the next lectures. But again, this is going to be very basic, just so that you know how it works. And after that, if you need something, you can always read it online. There is a ton of information on HTML and CSS, because this is how you write websites. So yeah, that there are probably billions of websites by now, and since there are so many, it shouldn't be this hard to make one. So yeah, there is a lot of information online. This is just going to give you the basics, and if you need something, you can find it in Stack Overflow, and there is a specific website for HTML and CSS, but I'll show you that in one of the next lectures. Okay, and then we go to JavaScript basics. Okay, so you already know for loops, ifs, arrays, and so on. So I wouldn't be spending more than just a couple of minutes to show you the syntax of each, and they're not even that different. So this lecture number 3 is about that. It's about how to transfer your knowledge from C# to JavaScript, and they're definitely not similar, but those basic stuff that I just mentioned, so conditional statements, loops, arrays, and so on. They are pretty similar, very simplified, I would say. And I'm sure that in a short span of time, I can pretty much go through the whole, JavaScript concept. Then number 4 is object-oriented programming in JavaScript, and there it says sort of, because the object-oriented programming in JavaScript is a bit vague and a bit weird. So I wouldn't really call it that. It's a way of imitating object-oriented programming. But for that, we have TypeScript, which we are going to learn in the next course. In the next module. But yeah, so the very basic stuff, nothing too complicated. How to make a class, I don't think there will be anything that complicated. It's just a different way of writing things, I would say. But the main logic, the way you name variables, all of the principles from the last course, they are valid here. It's just that some of them you cannot apply to JavaScript because it's a lot more simplified. For example, you don't have access modifiers, so you don't have stuff like private, public, and so on. There are many differences, but it's just a lot more simplified. So it will be easy to go through it in a lecture or two. So here I'm not sure if this 4 is going to be a two-part lecture because the OP is weird, and I'll see if I can manage it in just a single lecture. Okay, and then after that we will make a simple game using Canvas. Canvas is let's call it an HTML element where we can draw shapes and pretty much make a game. The good thing about Canvas is that it's written with CSS, JavaScript, and a bit of HTML, and you can very easily make a game which is going to work in your browser. Whereas if you remember from Monogame, you had to know C#, which is a lot more complicated as a language. Also, you had to know object-oriented programming, some principles, architectures, and so on. And to actually make one, you have to download Monogame. You have to know the functions of Monogame and so on. This is going to be a lot more simplified in that sense. And that's pretty much it. It's going to be a very short course. This is evaluation. This is timeline. Okay. So this course will be evaluated as follows. This picture should not be there. And I noticed something else here. So this is not going to be here, and this is going to be about 2 weeks. Right, since there are just a couple of lectures and they're pretty straightforward and easy, I would think, this course is scheduled to be only like 3 weeks, maybe something like that, since we have only 5 lectures, up plus minus 1 depending on the ones for JavaScript. So the plan is to just go about two weeks, or by the end of the month we should be finished with that, and after that we start with the phaser module, which will be a lot more interesting. Evaluation, there is going to be no teamwork. Homeworks are optional, and yeah, the only thing that you need to do, and I will check it, is just make one animation using Canvas. And I'm not saying a game. If you want to make a game, but since this is a solo homework, it's not like a teamwork project for many people, you should just do one simple animation. Think of it as a screensaver from the old Windows screensaver. So something like a ball bouncing, or some bubbles going around the screen, or just something simple with Canvas. The timeline, we went through that. So how to study? Since this course is very simplified and quick, it's just an introduction to the next course. So we have to go through this kind of in a rush. Just try to come to lectures, listen, and if there are some homeworks, try to do them. But even if you don't get something that I say or something like that, it will not be vital for your game development experience later on. Right, and these things I wrote them, but they are not here. That was quite weird. All right, okay. So the best test from the last course of the OP module. I'm sorry for the corrections. Just I lost my presentation and I had to do it on the spot. So the best test from the last course, Dimitar, who had 106 out of 110. I think the next best was about 90 or 92 or 3, something like that. So kind of a big difference. He made it almost perfect this test. So it was just a test with some questions. If you want to, you can look it up on our website. Yeah, and the best teamwork. So I would like to say out of 7 teamwork projects, 5 of them were really good, and I have a personal preference of who had to be first, but there is a game that I'm missing here. So the Snow Fighter, the RPG, the Fighter, and the Orbital Defense. Sorry, the Tower Defense. Thank you. So there was the Tower Defense here, which was also really good. So yeah, all of these, I'll find a way to upload them on our website so that you can play them and see them, but we had some really good ones, and all of these, the teams put a lot of effort, and for just after 4 months of programming, we saw some really good games that could make it into the markets, either iOS or Android. Yeah, I don't have a clear winner. The team that did the RPG put a lot of effort in it, and I do appreciate it. It was a lot. They had a lot of states, a lot of complicated logic and calculations and so on. I really like the Snow Fighter as well. They had some animations for the characters, and it was a complete game that you could play, with another one and have fun with that. The tower defense, I like the idea, but I'm personally a fan of tower defenses, so there was no way that I didn't like this. So yeah, and to me personally, but this is very personal, and the other judges do not agree with me, was the orbital defense, which was like a space shooter, but it was very slick, had some really nice effects, and yeah, if you want to just go onto the website under the course, and I'll find a way to upload them soon so that you can see the games. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions? We start with the HTML from the next lecture, which is going to be on Thursday. Any questions? Nope? Okay, have a good evening then.